Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing a quick follow-up to our last video on how you can invest in Mongolia. We got a question about the foreign companies with operations in Mongolia, so we wanted to make a quick video about some of these. So this is what we'll be covering in our video here. And as always, just a quick reminder, this is for informational purposes only, and this is definitely not investment advice. In our previous video, we mentioned that one way to invest in Mongolia as a foreign retail investor was to purchase companies that are listed outside of Mongolia but whose projects are mainly or all in Mongolia. These are not Mongolian-incorporated companies, but instead they're foreign listed companies that operate projects in Mongolia. You can often buy them through major brokerages like Fidelity or Interactive Brokers. Before we get into these companies, we just want to mention that the ones that we're going to be mentioning are traded on US OTC markets, and accordingly they're very high risk, micro to small cap, speculative stocks with low liquidity and wide spreads. This means that prices can swing sharply, and there's always a risk of share dilution, as these companies often try to raise money through issuing new shares. Still, these tickers will give you a way to invest in Mongolia-focused companies without having to open a foreign brokerage account in Mongolia and go through all the paperwork and hassle that comes with that. Most of the companies that we're going to be talking about are listed in Canada, London, or Australia, so if you have accounts in any of those countries, you could probably trade them through your local brokerage accounts as well. The first company that we're going to be covering is Steppe Gold, which trades on the Toronto Exchange. Steppe Gold's main asset is the ATO mine in eastern Mongolia, which is already producing gold and silver, making it one of the few foreign listed companies with active revenue in Mongolia. The company also owns the Buru project in northern Mongolia, which includes a processing plant once operated by another gold mining company. Steppe Gold plans to restart the operations there to expand production alongside its main mine. While the company can give you rare exposure to Mongolian gold mining, it remains a small stock with high volatility and sensitivity to gold prices. Next is Erdene Resource Development, which is also listed on the Toronto Exchange. Erdene is a gold mining company transitioning from developer to producer as its flagship mine nears completion. As of mid-2025, construction on the mine was nearly complete and dry commissioning was underway according to company reports. The company expects to start production in Q3 2025 and aims to reach commercial production by the end of next year. This makes Erdene a higher risk option since its near-term success depends on completing commissioning and ramping up production smoothly, but it also carries significant upside if production can get underway. Next is Entrée Resources. Entrée doesn't run its own mines, but instead owns a 20% stake in part of the giant Oyu Tolgoi copper and gold project, which is operated by Rio Tinto. That means when Oyu Tolgoi produces copper and gold, Entrée gets a share of the revenues without having to operate the mine itself. That also means that Entrée benefits when Oyu Tolgoi produces and develops without having to fund or operate the mine directly. It's essentially a minority joint venture play on one of the world's biggest copper deposits, giving Entrée exposure to Oyu Tolgoi's production, but without direct operational control. However, as a small cap stock, it's still speculative and tied to both copper prices and Mongolia's regulatory environment. Next is Petro Matad, which trades in London's AIM market. AIM is the junior market of London Stock Exchange, where smaller early-stage companies like Petro Matad are listed. Petro Matad is an oil exploration and development company focused entirely on Mongolia. Its main project is the Heron oil field, where production began in late 2024, marking a historic milestone as being only the third oil producer in Mongolia. However, production is still at a slow initial rate, and the company is actively working to increase this and is engaging in ongoing discussions with the Mongolian government and PetroChina regarding taxes and sales agreements, respectively. 2025 is focused on ramping up production and further well testing. Thus, Petro Matad is one of the only pure-play oil explorers in the country, but as a small cap on London's AIM, its shares are volatile and closely tied to Mongolia's policy decisions on energy. Finally, SouthGobi Resources is a coal producer operating the Oyu Tolgoi mine in Mongolia's SouthGobi region. The company exports coal across the border into China, giving it direct exposure to Chinese demand. It's larger and more established than early-stage juniors, but still highly cyclical with its success tied to coal prices and Mongolia-China trade dynamics. In addition to the companies above, there's a few others we want to mention here. Mongolia-Mining-Corporation, listed in Hong Kong, is one of Mongolia's lead coal producers, supplying steel-making coal directly to China. It is larger and established compared to most junior operators, but the stock remains highly exposed to coal prices and Chinese import policy. Aspire Mining, listed in Australia, is working to develop the Oyu coal project in northern Mongolia. Unlike Mongolian-incorporated, Aspire is still in the pre-production stage, making it highly speculative and dependent on financing and infrastructure completion. While it does not yet generate revenue, it offers optionality on Mongolia's future coal exports. And then finally, Kincora Copper is a junior explorer with a portfolio of copper-gold projects in both southern Mongolia and Australia. The company's business model is focused on project generation, which involves bringing in partners to fund exploration on its projects, including an agreement to advance its Mongolian assets. However, liquidity can be extremely thin, and like many junior explorers, it raises cash by issuing new shares, creating dilution risk for investors. Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder, all of these companies are highly speculative, most are small or micro cap, and they trade with low liquidity. Prices can swing sharply, and many of them rely on issuing new shares to raise money. Their outcomes are closely tied to commodity cycles, policy decisions in Mongolia, and in some cases, a single project. Thus, they should be treated as high-risk frontier investments, not core holdings in a portfolio. As always, if you found this video informative, please check out Vina Edge for more information on emerging markets. And once again, this presentation is for informational purposes only, and it is not investment advice.